How to protect yourself as an empath. Hi everyone, I am Apollonia Ponti. I'm your dating, relationship, and life coach, and I'm here for you men to master your attraction skills, build the confidence overall that you desire to create the love or relationship life that you want. And we're going to be talking about this topic because I'll have a lot of coaching clients that come to me as an empath sometimes, and they're like, how do I protect myself if I'm an empath guy, Apollonia? All right, so the first thing I want you to understand before we get into the tips and tricks or whatever we want to call it in this video is I want you to understand too, the first part of all of this right now, guys, is if you are an empath guy, I do not want you to look at this as a negative thing, okay? I am an empath myself, so I can speak from experience in regards to this and how I protected my energy and became a little bit more stronger in controlling my emotions, which I talk about in a lot of my videos. But being an empath does not mean anything negative. It means that you have a tendency to feel more. You have a tendency to be more relatable sometimes. You have a tendency to have emotions and be really in tune with that. And that's actually an amazing, amazing quality. So the first thing that we have to do is not look at it as a bad thing, but we do have to understand it and start to control it and give it to the right people, right? So tip number one, alluding to this, you have to work on getting rid of the negative people, the negative things, the negative associations that you might have in your life. So as an empath, you have to protect your energy when you're first starting. It can get better as you understand. Now I don't have to protect my energy. I coach all the time and nothing really affects me unless I let it, right? So the how I started getting there is I had to clear out the negative people, the negative news that I watched, the negative family members possibly in my life, the negative friends in my life. I had to put those at a halt. I had to cut those things out because I had to really have a conversation with myself and say, is this an engine or an anchor? So if they were an engine and they brought me up and they kind of delivered, I would keep them in my life. But if they were an anchor and they held me down, then that was the point where I wouldn't keep them in my life. I also had to do other things. Like, for example, if I drank wine, the next day I felt down all the time when I drank wine, so I stopped drinking wine. And instead of drinking wine when I got home after work, when I was working a 9 to 5 back then, I would literally just go to the gym instead. So we have to change our direction and refocus. A lot of times too, for empaths, really do good with sunlight, right? So make sure that your place has solitude and has natural sunlight that comes in. Also, another thing that you can do is music. Music has saved my life so many times. As an empath, the way that you can be more positive, the way that you can feel more dominant, the way you can feel more in control, more confident, and not let negative things arise is by the music that you learn, that you listen to as well. So put on music, do the things that make you happy, but also too, be aware of your surroundings and what you're listening to when you're first trying to control this emotional empath that you might have. Is the news. How often do you watch the news? How often do you watch horror movies? How often do you watch sad stories? How often do you watch action movies of people killing each other? How often do you play video games like this? Like, understand that your conscious and your subconscious registers this stuff to make you feel a certain way. For example, if I am trying to, I try to, and this still has affected me as an empath, when I try to just calm down from a day and my mind continues to race on work, and finally I hit the bed, my way of calming down sometimes is to watch movies, read a book, or just meditate. And sometimes I'll just want to watch a movie because I'm just tired and I don't want to have to do anything. And depending on that movie I watch, I'll have some insecurities arise in my dream. So I've noticed like comedy and things like that is what brings me up, and that's a good thing to watch before I go to bed. So understand, as an empath, you take on a lot of emotions because we feel and we connect with our heart a lot. It's not looked at as a bad thing, but you have to understand how to control it. So once you start controlling it, it leads me into tip number 2, meditations or journaling. Okay. If you've never started or never done meditations before, meditation is a game changer, guys. For me, journaling was a game changer and meditation, but journaling really impacted my life because of the fact that, well, honestly, I meditated and then I journaled. So I felt like I got a lot more clarity because I'm a visual learner, and I have to see things on paper to really understand sometimes, or I have to like break it down myself to really understand. So meditations help me get there and be more conscious and aware, but meditations and journaling also helped me be in tune with myself and my emotions. And last tip in regards to empaths. Now, I want you to understand this is so important out of everything that I'm saying here, is empaths are typically natural givers because we want people to be happy. We love from our heart. We love from integrity. We love from pureness. We just see good in everybody, okay? But can also be a negative quality about ourselves. Because empaths, what I've noticed in life and in friends, I have a friend that is amazing. She's one of my best friends, and she gives her all to everybody. But what happens is when we start to give and give and give, we attract takers, people that just want to take and take and take. And what we have to understand is giving comes from time, patience, and getting to know someone if they are worth that supply, right? So I used to always want to give, and give, but I felt and I found a passion of how I can give back in what I do right now and where I'm feel very validated within myself. And another funny tool that I did back when I was an empath and working, I still am, but I've learned how to control this, right? Because I have to. I have no other way of not controlling it, especially for what I do for a living, right? So I'm here to tell you it can happen. But I'm gonna give you a bonus tip. I didn't even think of it until it came up in this video. But I want to share with you a story that I used to do that worked so great, and I did it all the time when I did speeches. So back when I was starting my coaching practice, I had a lot of speeches in Miami and New York, and people would find me because of television and radio, whatever. And I was just speaking a lot because that's what I could only do at that time since I had a full-time job. But I was also taking on a lot of energy. I was seeing that people's energy was affecting me, and people would come up and they would tackle me and ask questions, and they came from a low point and they were at a very solid, they had addictions and they had this and they had that, and then I would come home and I would be frustrated, I would be tired, I would cry, and I gave everybody my energy. And as an empath, remember, we want to give, so we attract takers. And so the moment that before I had a speech, I would do a little meditation or a little affirmation or a little prayer, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever sticks with your bow. And what I did was I zipped myself up. I literally had an invisible bag around me, and I would say, my emotions are going to be cultivated for myself. My emotions are going to be healed within, and nobody is going to take my energy. I'm here to give, and I'm here to give in solitude, but no one's going to take. And I would zip myself up and zip myself up from behind too. And it sounds the cheesiest thing ever, but it really worked. And let me tell you why this works. I've done a lot of study about the human mind. And when we can trick our mind into understanding we're in control, we start to become in control. And that's exactly what I did there. So I hope that tip helps you, and I want you to go away and take some of these tips and tricks and tools and use them for you. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you are someone that is trying to really get good at mastering women and you're an empath man and you're just like, how do I connect with women on a deeper level without showing too much emotion? I want you to download my 20-question manual to get to know a woman's true self, because in there, I give you questions that you can start to identify and ask and have great conversations with women. As always, I'll see you in the next video, and remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.